Hey guys, Mr. Rees here, Algebra 2. We're talking about section 1.3, which is solving linear equations in one variable today. Essential question is, how do you solve an equation for a variable? The difference between an expression and an equation is essentially that one has an equal sign and one doesn't. You can tell this difference pretty easily just by looking at it. The difference is one you solve, so equations you solve and expressions you just simplify. You've probably done this before, but these are the ways to kind of deal with this. What we talk about is inverse operations. So the inverse of addition is subtraction, inverse of multiplication is division, and etc. Every operation has an inverse, and so we just undo. So when we see an example like this, of course, the first step is subtract 11 from each side, which is the inverse of addition. The next thing we'll do, typically with fractions here like this, is what we say multiply by the reciprocal, multiply by the inverse. So if you go like that, then we have x minus 5 equals 6, add 5 to both sides, and we come up with our final answer. That's just your regular equation. When we're dealing with something with x on both sides, in this case we're talking about distributing, and then we'll go ahead and group the x's together. So we'll move minus 2x over to the other side, followed by subtracting 20 off each side to get x alone. We'll divide by 3, and the final answer will be x equals -9. Sometimes we deal with more complicated ones, like equations with a bunch of fractions in them. One thing we'll encourage you guys to do is use the LCD method. The LCD is least common denominator. So if you see a equation with a whole bunch of fractions in, the first goal is to figure out what would that LCD be? What is the least common denominator in this case? Well, here it's 12 because each of the numbers 4, 3, and 2, each of those denominators divide evenly into 12. If you take this whole equation and multiply it through by 12, what you'll get is an equation without fractions anymore. Since fractions are the F word in math, we don't want to deal with those, and so we kind of continue on. We'll do the normal way, add 20, divide by 9, we get our result. The key here is using the LCD. Problems where we have perimeter and area show up in this section as well. Perimeter is just as simple as adding the sides together. Area, we'll use a formula depending on if we're talking about a rectangle or a triangle or whatever, depends on the formula. So for perimeter and area, in this case for a rectangle, area is length times width, and so we'll just go ahead and do that. The length is 2x plus 7, and the width is 5. Distribute combined like terms, and we get our area problem down there. For perimeter, we'll just add them all together. One thing people forget sometimes is to also include the bottom. Bottom and the side are shown here, and then so we'll have to add them all together. So including the length twice and the width twice is a common mistake. In this section, you should be able to solve equations, clear fractions, and determine the perimeter area of two-dimensional shapes. Thanks. Bye.